Welcome back to lesson 1.7. Moving on to solving some quadratic equations, this time by taking the square root of both sides. The warm-up has two parts this time, because it wouldn't all fit on one page, basically. So there are two separate sheets for the warm-up. Part A here is background. I do want to mention before we start that this method, taking the square root of both sides, doesn't work well if there's a middle term. It can be done, but it's messy. So usually you reserve this method for when you do not have a middle term in the equation. For the background, I would like to go back to where you were sketching, drawing the graph. We know it's going to be a parabola. Does this one open up or down? Well, it's a positive x squared, so we know it's going to be opening up. Axis of symmetry. You know that tells you that x equals negative b over 2a. Well, for this equation, b happens to be 0. So we end up with x equals 0 as our axis of symmetry. So somewhere along here, that's our axis of symmetry. The vertex. Well, we already have half of the vertex, x is 0. Then we could substitute 0 in the equation for x, and the y value is going to equal negative 4. Okay, so there's our vertex. What's the y-intercept? Well, that happens when x is 0, and we already know that that's negative 4. You said it opens up, so a simple sketch, sort of like that, a little wobbly, but that's our parabola. Although we didn't find the x-intercepts. So that's when we set y equal to 0 and solve for x. I turned it around because I'm just used to doing it that way. And we could add 4 to both sides. X squared equals 4. And then take the square root of both sides. Okay. And we get that x equals 2. So, x is 2, y is 0. There we are. There's the x-intercept. Just a little problem. There's another x-intercept over here, and it often gets forgotten. Technically, when we take the square root of something that's squared, there are going to be two answers. We could either square 2 to come out to 4, or we could square negative 2 and still come out to 4. So both of those are solutions, which fits with the picture. There should be an x-intercept over here. Often we just combine it and say x equals positive or negative 2. So that's the background. Now let's